Back then, I was not really sure of if I should go as an AI engineer, but thankfully, I did get this job. And then once you go into a company, you don't know, okay, if you have to stick to whatever you've learned or how you should approach. When you go deep into the technology, you get to know that Gen AI and LLMs are also part of ML. They're just like another and I have seen this in a lot of JDs as well, like when they hire for data analyst, it's only the Excel. Then what's the whole point of being an engineer if you're just sticking to Excel, right? So if you're working as an ML engineer, yes, like mainly you have to work on your like mathematical skills. Like if you hate it, like it, love it, that's not an issue, but you need to use mathematics because any kind of algorithm the companies want now is, have you contributed to any open source? Because let's say that I don't give you any requirement, or as a beginner or a fresher, even you wouldn't know what to do. And that's how recruiters reach you. I don't think you can follow the old school method of sending out resume and waiting for the recruiter to call you anymore. That's not how it works now. You have to showcase your skills. I think there's a huge difference I found in product-based company. Again, to add, service-based are just on a very one side of it. Like you deliver the service, but your manager takes like the credit, or he gets along the business side. So you don't know what you're doing. You're just like this kid who's given homework in a school. You finish your homework. You don't know what you're doing it for. You don't think also. So it's very like, I see a lot of people already doing like projects. Yes, I know that you've done the projects. But take the skill out of the project. There's something which I've applied in the project which makes it unique, right? So try to take that, explain to the hiring manager or the recruiter that I've done this. Not just don't showcase the project. Projects are everywhere, and I've seen everyone repeating the same project, like, stock prediction, recommendation. These are very outdated. If you send a generic resume telling that you've done all of this, the recruiters will not know what to do with you. So you also have to be sure, like you have to think for the recruiter. Even AI/ML is a huge domain. So you need to focus on if it's AI, ML, deep learning, computer vision, LLMs, Gen AI, what do you want to do? There are like a lot of ton of groups on LinkedIn where you can find people who are exclusively who are hiring. You can refer them or they will refer you. And I don't think any fresher has to pay money for getting a job. And if they put enough time for their portfolios or building their portfolios, I don't think they really have to pay, or they have to be more considerate about, you need to have review meetings with your manager very often, because that will help you understand where you stand in the company, where you stand in the project, where you stand in your career. Because companies pay you based on how many deadlines you've finished and are you up to the mark. They don't care how much you learn. You can take your time, you can take your own time to learn, but finish up the work first and then start researching on more. So this is where the podcast comes in, or when the conference. So they will tell their mistakes so that you don't do it. They will tell what approaches they used, you don't.
Today, we have a special guest, Mrs. Priyanka V Galagali, and software engineer with over 7+ years of experience in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Her journey includes building personalized academic research models at Datalore Labs, developing military vehicle recognition system at UNV Software, and enhancing object detection and segmentation technologies at DIMAAG-AI. She has also worked as a DevOps engineer at Nokia, showcasing her versatility in tech. Interestingly, Priyanka also took on the role of teacher, conducting part-time tuition classes while pursuing her master's degree. True example of balancing learning and giving back. In this episode, she shares detailed insights and valuable knowledge about AI/ML from her rich experience. Stay tuned till the end for an inspiring and informative conversation. Hi Priyanka ma'am, how are you?
Hey, hi, I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Thanks for asking. First of all, I would like to thank you for coming to my podcast and accepting my invitation, and the knowledge you are going to share us with today, that will be really helpful for all the data students and aspirants who want to come in this industry. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you as well, because I think I was looking for a platform where I could share my whatever I have been experiencing and whatever I experienced so far. I think it's going to be like of immense use to other students or whoever is aspiring to come into this field and try to make a career out of it.
So, ma'am, first point we want to discuss about your education journey. How you started with your education journey, and at what point of your life you get interested in data science, especially. We want to know more about.
I think I finished my engineering in computer science from SCVIT College in 2019. And after that, during the course of like the last few semesters, I also worked as an intern in huge assisted company, and I've also worked as a ML intern in few other startup companies. So I think we did get a knowledge or experience about what brief about what ML would be. I think back in 2018 or 19, I think ML was still like more of a theoretical concept rather than the way it is trending right now. So back when I was in engineering, I think ML was kind of like a career you might have, or maybe you can have an internship and get to know what exactly ML is. But now being a AI/ML engineer and working in depth in that particular field, I think the way I have come through has been a lot of experience throughout the years. And I still was not really aware of the concept, even with the students or of my classmates as well. I think ML was not really a trending job to have at that time. And also the job openings were very fever in that in 2018 to 19. It was more of like the database admin, the full stack developer, and so on. And right after finishing my engineering, I worked as a database admin as an intern. And then I got a software engineer role in a startup company. So fortunately, I think that was a startup in which was working on computer vision field. So we were still not associated directly with ML part, but we still had an idea. So I had to work on Python, and also I was working as a full stack developer there, where I had to start building a website from scratch. And in my first project, I used like 20% of ML, where my first project in the startup company was about recognizing military plate number system. So we had an idea back then, okay, we were supposed to use ML techniques, and that comes as a part of computer vision, and I had to use Python. So Python also was not very popular, but it was a very popular programming language right then, where it was easy to learn, and obviously a lot of it was back in like very high trending then. And I worked as a full stack developer for a year or two, and then we had COVID, and I wanted to switch careers. But before then, I wanted to understand what exactly is trending right then, and I also wanted to pursue my master's. So in 2021, I think after working as a full stack developer for 2 years, I pursued my master's in computer science and engineering. And then right after my MTech, which I completed in 2022. So 2020 to 2022, I did my master's. It was a full-time master program. And later in the last 6 months, we had an internship, and I became an intern in Nokia company. And I think that was the time where I understood, okay, so in Nokia, I was working as a CI/CD pipeline engineer. So I was working as an intern where I had to understand everything. So what is Kubernetes, Dockerization of pipeline, and CI/CD, Jenkins. So being a full stack developer here, it was more of like operations part. So then after that, I think after my MTech, so from my masters, I was also participating in few of the hackathons and competitions. Even in the engineering, I used to participate in the hackathons, and later I started contributing to LinkedIn articles. I started writing articles about it, and I also did few tech talks in my master's college about AI/ML and so on. So then right after my master's Viva, I got a call from my present company, DIMAAG-AI, and back then I was not really sure of if I should go as an AI engineer, but thankfully I did get this job. And I interviewed, the interview was mainly focusing on Python. And even though they didn't ask me about particular ML questions, I showed them my master's project, which I had done on a recommendation system. and I explained thoroughly about what I had done. And in my master's project, I was very keen on understanding what am I working on. And since it was a ML project and including with the data science part of it, so I made sure that I applied every concept of data science, whichever was required for this recommendation project. So we also had a exhibition or like a science fair in our master's college. So, and then I also exhibited my project, and there were a few other clients which I acquired, but although it was more of like an educational project. So I had also posted about this project which I had done and the product which can be made from this project. So that is how I got the interview. And initially I worked as an AI/ML engineer, and this is my background of the educational journey so far.
No, very important point I know in your education journey is about your interest in the things happening in outside of the college, like attending the hackathon, as you say, the science fair. Because these parts, like when we get out of the college or out of the point, then only we to know what the things are happening in the industry. We get to match our skill set, match our experience with the other people's more than the college. So that will help you a lot.
Yeah, that will take you a long way in your career, because I think after my engineering, I did work in few companies, and I think that gave me the part where I had to be confident about what am I learning, and sticking to the books or the exams won't take you in a long way. So when you try to pursue masters, I see that there's a wide difference on how there was MTech back then and now. So people go to do masters in abroad, and they get the same kind of knowledge. But what goes wrong is, I think we have to expose ourselves what we have learned in masters in our engineering. And I preferred going to masters after working for a few years. I really wanted to pursue my MTech only after at least getting 1 year of experience in the company, because I think that's that what keeps you apart from the other students. So I've seen a lot of students, like right after engineering, they dive into masters or MTech, but they don't know what exactly they want to understand in masters. So what do you want to master in? And where do you want to apply your knowledge or your skills, whatever you've obtained in your engineering? So there's a very huge gap between understanding what the industry requires and then learning and then applying, rather than you just go to a master's right after engineering without knowing what is the market about. And I think few of them also, like maybe because of the recession or the current marketing trends, I think they're kind of pressurized to go to MTech because they have no other choice. But I think you really should try going to have a career in engineering, whatever domain suits you. Try to explore everything, and then get into master thinking as to what you want. What do you want to gain out of pursuing master degree? Why do you want to have it? I think me personally having a career for at least 2 years gave me a huge confidence and clarity on what I wanted from my master degree. And that's how in master degree, I was not just in college working, but also like ours was a COVID batch in masters. So obviously we had to do a lot more to make sure that once we graduate, we get the kind of career or the work we want, the role which we want. So during the COVID batch also had its effects. So I think that was also one of the reason as to how I pursued, like I tried to, I was also working as a tutor in one of the company. So I was teaching Python and AI/ML back then, like the second year of my master's. So that's also, I think that also was like another thing which pushed me into getting a AI career, because I got to know that that's what keeps you engaged, or that's where the market lies. So I think there's a lot of small things which are put together, which will eventually give you the kind of career you want. But I think as a beginner, you should never be shy enough to tell the people or, showcase your skill set to the people. Because now, the way I have seen interview happening right now and back when I graduated, it's very different. Like here, I've seen people now also asking like, okay, have you showcased your skills in any project, or what more have you worked on? I know that you're great in coding. I know that you can do this, but what have you done without other people asking you for it? So I think few things right after engineering, I think I started also being a freelancer, trying to put my hand into everything and gain that knowledge. I think that took me a huge way apart in my career because I skipped, even though it was like after my MTech, it's been like recently I completed 2 years in my current company. It took me a long way because there is a very certain clarity the MTech students bring in, which the engineering students don't bring into the company. Like being in a startup company, which is very competitive, you have to upscale your knowledge to whatever you learn from day to day and apply it the very next few days. You don't get to learn in months and then apply like you get in engineering colleges. So you need to be very quick. You need to know everything. You need to stay updated. I think the beginners at least, they have to stay on top of the page to make sure that their skills are showcased.
Yes, so a very important point you said about the masters. Doing the masters is not just checking the list that I am doing the masters, but you should know why you are doing the master. What is the reason behind you are doing the masters? What is the beneficial you get after master? Your roadmap clear about the doing master. Just not the I have completed graduation and I not got selected in any first round or there is no job. Okay, then I will do the master. This is not a good thing. I also think you have to have the clear mindset. Because why you are doing the master. That will be really you took the gap and you get the masters after that. You have the clear mindset and the clear roadmap about the masters.
Correct. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, my next point I want to discuss with you regarding your company, that which company you're working right now and how that company is beneficial for your personal growth. And also we want to know that what is your day-to-day job look like? So what you do actually at job?
Okay. Currently, I'm working at a company called DIMAAG-AI. It's a California-based company, so it's a startup company. So we have the AI team, data engineering team, robotics team, working together for delivering the products. So we have our own products. So we are mainly into EV. We have our own quality control systems and other products which we are innovating. So mainly it's a R&D technology along with quickly upscaling the products and delivering quick products into the solutions or so on. So I think this company benefited me in a very efficient way because back when I did my master's and I was still a fresher in AI, and when I recently came into the company, I was put into the project and you had to start working from day one and delivering that 100% results in the project which you do. So I think I understood what exactly a startup meant in AI because being a full stack developer, which was again in a startup company, which used like 10 to 20% of AI/ML skills or the algorithms, this used like 100% of AI/ML knowledge, which I had to gain even though I did my master's in computer science. So you had to understand what is AI/ML, the models. You had to start implementing every model every single day and get the results, how you can improvise the model. So the way startups work, or exactly this company works, was you had to deliver quick results. You had to showcase your knowledge. What have you learned? So back then, I do remember that. So we had like the beginners or any employee of the company could give talks. So when I just started out in the company, like after 2 or 3 months, ChatGPT was very recently founded. So in 2021. So I think I gave a TED talk in November 2021 about ChatGPT, how you could use it and so on. So when I gave a TED talk, it was more of a theoretical concept. People were not really sure on, okay, what is ChatGPT? So it was more of like me explaining on this is how you can use this product. And as of I see now, I see a lot of people, not just in my company or I see everywhere people are hyping about ChatGPT. Like there have been courses about prompt engineering. There have been jobs which have been created out of this ChatGPT and so on. So out of these 2 years, when something which has been theoretical or not of a popular trend has already been used in such varied use. Now, I don't see a lot of people going to Stack Overflow or, and then, or Googling about the questions. I see people straight away going to ChatGPT. So that's how AIML has improvised the entire career, the domain which you're working in. So I think this company gave me a head start on how to work on AIML products. And it's not just about I give you a problem, you have to solve it and come back to me. in this company, we use an approach where you find problems. We also give you problems, add more problems to it, and try to solve it using AIML. And not only just AIML. So I think I started as an AI engineer, but now I'm also working as an MLOps engineer. So I'm trying to integrate all of it. So within a span of 2 years, being from AI engineer to MLOps is not an easy thing, but also it's quite challenging and has its own complexities. But altogether, I think when you step into a domain, you have no choice, but you have to keep progressing. I think this company taught me that you can't stay in the same way you came into this company. Every day or every month, you have reviews about what you're doing, what exactly are your platforms, how you can contribute to the company, how you can contribute to your individual success. So what are you getting from the company and what are you giving back to the company? So when it's an in and out process, I think you get a lot to learn. You are always on the edge trying to explore things. So you try to see, okay, what best can I do for the company? What best can I do? How well can I create this product and so on? And once you start designing a product, I think here, one of the main tasks which I do, like you wanted to know about what I do in a daily basis in my company. So firstly, the task which I was given was mainly like just go through all the research papers, get to know whatever you know about deep learning, AIML techniques, and try to implement the research papers. I think this was a very unique approach which I learned because usually beginners, as far as I've seen in the companies, they are given KT on the projects. You get a documentation of whatever has been done. But here they asked us to, or at least they asked me to specifically implement the research papers, get to know what is happening right now, and then try to use the current technologies, the current models which have been implemented or like researched in the recent papers like 2023 or 2024, and then try to implement it as a product and see what is going on. So we do have a lot of patents in our company. And so it's not just mostly we bring products, we bring our unique approach in these products. So AI is all about innovation, trying to get your unique or special side. What special touch can you add to a product to make it more way? Because I think you yourself are a freelancer and you know how products are in the market, right? So I think even when you discuss with a lot of people, you see that, okay, I have done recommendation system or so on. So we have like a set of typical projects, which you do. And then once you go into a company, you don't know, okay, if you have to stick to whatever you've learned or how you should approach. So I think my seniors were also very helpful in this task where everyone were very approachable and we had a lot of technical discussions. So this helped me understand, okay, so this is how the market is going and this is what I should apply in everyday job, because once you're given a requirement, you think or you focus only in that way. Okay, I should get a solution to this. I should finish this task and I should get back home. But once you're given like a set of requirements along with you also have the freedom to do whatever you want, I think it helps you, give you more freedom on understanding more things. You get the freedom to apply a lot of things, which as a beginner, I got a lot of time and freedom to do. So I think I should be thankful that I got this opportunity as a beginner and that helped me a lot in my career right now as well.
It's really great to know that you're too dedicated to all these things. You love your job. We can see it in our eyes.
Thank you. So it's not more of like loving your job. I think I love this domain. I had no clue when, even after knowing what is AI/ML, like we had subjects of ML in my master's and even in my engineering. But until you apply it and you take back a piece of whatever you've done and that you know that, okay, I've implemented this and I know something, like I actually have implemented without taking anyone's help. So I think that gives you a lot of satisfaction. And I think that you progress in that way, like you teach someone or you implement, then you understand that, okay, this is how it has to be implemented. So that takes you to beyond somewhere when you're working. And I think AIML is quite fascinating. Honestly, I think, thankfully I've been like a part of AIML team here. So I understood what is AIML and I see a lot of beginners doing like typical projects, but even myself. So when I was a beginner or before joining this company, I had done like all the different personal projects from looking at the GitHub and so on. But coming here, I understood that, there are other deep concepts you have to go. Like you can modify your own ML model for starters. So which is actually help you or which will help you understand, okay, this is how you modify. Because when you try to implement someone else's project or like just copy paste it, I don't think you will understand. You will understand a bit of it that, okay, I can work in this way. But if you try to build a model from scratch, which I was given an opportunity of, that might seem hectic in the beginning, but this is the beginner should concentrate on this because when you go ahead in your career for after like 3 or 4 or 5 years, you can't tell that, okay, I haven't worked on this. You should be like very active, enthusiastic about the way you learn how you implement the models. Whatever you learn in AIML engineer at least should try to implement. Where can I implement this? Which problem can I solve? Only then you have innovated something and you become a true engineer. So I think that enthusiastic I also found in my employees and that naturally influenced me as well because I was on the competitive side. And when you see people, when you see your peers working so hard or so smartly and trying to innovate solutions, because ours was also focusing on R&D and the product-based company, I think this is where you find the key difference between service-based companies and product-based companies. So thankfully, I started my career in a product-based company. So that gave me a chance, and I still haven't got a chance to be a part of service-based company. But so far, I'm enjoying the product-based company, the way it challenges you every single day. I think that's I am still yet to enjoy in a long journey.
You said about the product based company. Why do you think that the product based company can make your skills 10x more? Means as compared to the service based companies, like because you're from Bengaluru, right? In Bengaluru, there are the lots of big service companies like TCS, Wipro, Infosys. And do you in your mind there will be not question not came that I want to work in this big companies or the big service companies, because when I was a student, that time I have the mind I want to work in these companies, but when I go into it actually, then I realized all the scenario.
I had got L&T. My first company was L&T. So through my campus placement, I was selected in L&T and I had got a job offer. And then I rejected it and I took up a offer in startup company. And naturally, my parents were like, why? Like L&T is a really good company. Back in 2019, it was great. And after my MTech, I was also part of Nokia. And I had got job offer in Nokia as well. So they were kind of confused as to what's happening. And a lot of my employees or my colleagues who are working right now, they had all been selected in TCS, Infosys, Wipro, and so on. And they left all that, rejected all that job offers to come and join this company. Now, personally, what I see, I have spent 2 years. So for this October, I completed my 2 years in the startup company. Now, forget about the startup or any company. The kind of experience you get, the kind of work you do in a product-based company. A startup is more of like a icing on the cake. So a startup is even more good for you. But if you work in a product-based company, as I have seen as an engineer, I think it gives you like a 10x boost for your career because they work on the product. They don't just see how I can solve this problem, what kind of service can I give to the client. Rather, they say that I am going to build this product for you, which will make sure that you don't come back to me again. So that is what a product offers you. And I do have HR friends like who were in Ola, Amazon, and so on. So the HR, the hiring managers. So whenever a requirement is given, I was initially a part of Ola company as well for like 2 or 3 months. And there when they also used to hire, they would make sure that they see like even if you have like 2 or 3 years experience in a startup company or a product-based company is very much equivalent to 10 or 12 years in a service-based company. So that was also the requirement on how you could get hired. So this also gave me like a boost. Okay, so this is how it works, because a service-based company, you will be put to bench as far as I have understood that when the project goes, or you'll be put to bench and so on. So in startup or in a product-based company, you won't be put to bench because you're innovating products. You're on the innovating side. You're just not providing them service or maintenance or anything. You're trying to innovate something. So either you will be innovating something or implementing it, or you will be on the R&D side. So I do all of this in just one single day, trying to see what can be accommodated to each and every single project. Within 2 years, I don't think anyone in a service-based company could go from just AI engineer to MLOps engineer or whatever the kind of work they do. So that is also one thing. And the second thing is, service-based companies, I have seen like the kind of skill set you acquire is based on the project you do. But in the product-based companies, you have like, they give you the freedom. See, I want this product and you need to learn whatever it needs to be required to complete this project. So even in the recent project, which I have, I think I started working like 2 or 3 months into this project, and I was not given an option of, okay, you have this much time to learn. They gave me the requirements that you also have to Dockerize the AI pipeline. So which made me make sure that I have to go and work as an MLOps engineer. So AI engineer, they recruited me as an AI engineer, but you won't stay the same AI engineer for the next 2 years or 3 years. Forget 2 or 3 years. For the next few months, based on the kind of product you have to create, you will not be just an AI engineer. You'll have to work on deep learning. You have to work on machine learning products. And forget about all that. I was just, in the beginning of my career, all I had to do was implement the deep learning ML models. Now in few months, I think last year I worked on Gen AI projects and we had few LLM projects. So main thing which I'd like to include is, I don't see personally, I follow a lot of LinkedIn blogs and I myself write a lot of articles, try to stay ahead of the technology, what's happening. And I see that every kind of company which I follow on LinkedIn or usually just follow up through, every service-based company, they have a part of AIML. They don't make AIML as a substance of the company or a foundation of the company. So I feel like, okay, you're still an engineer. You do a part of this, you do a part of that, but you don't do a part of everything. Like you're good in everything, jack of all trades, but a master of none. But in product-based company, you have to be a master of every single thing and you have to have a knack of it. So like you can't come up with a reason telling that, okay, I'm not a part of this. I don't know. I don't have a skill set. It automatically encourages you, just tells you that, okay, you have to be a part of this. And I feel, you know how the trends are now. Like, you don't get updated, you lose out on all the things. And based on certain job or career changes now, I think the way market works is also, I've already seen, like, I keep following LinkedIn very, like, I don't even scroll my Insta so much, but I scroll on LinkedIn so much that I see a lot of people already asking for, like, you need to have like 2 years of experience in Gen AI, 3 or 4 years experience in LLM. So this might shock beginners, because when you go deep into the technology, you get to know that Gen AI and LLMs are also part of ML. They're just like another, like, step up level to ML models and so on. So they're just trying to make it more easier for you. So I think when you stay current on the, stay updated on the current technologies, Gen AI and LLMs, we had few projects coming in, and I had absolutely no clue about this, because in 2022, nobody knew what exactly Gen AI, LLMs, they were just a part of research papers. But now people have already been getting experience on that. They've started working on it. They've already started creating a lot of projects on it and so on. So I think product-based companies give you so much of exposure, experience, that you can't deny it. It comes a part and parcel of your your job, your daily structure, and the way your mind works as well. I think when you see a lot of your colleagues working in Gen AI trying to upscale, you can't say no, right? So you try to stay on the competitive side, and I think, yeah, like your working environment becomes a huge part, or how you get influenced, or how you take a part in your company. See, that is why you see a lot of CTO, CEOs from Amazon, Swiggy, or these product-based companies, they have their own company. Why? Because they're very young as well. They're not like more of like 40, 50 years of career and then they jump into entrepreneurship. So they try to start the companies at a very young age. Why? Because they already have that experience. So I think product-based companies, somehow I personally feel that it already has given me such experience. And even now, service-based, all the companies need a piece of cake. Like, they need to put their hand into AI, ML, Gen AI, full stack and all of that. But they don't make it as a substance where they can sell. They don't make it as their USP. So product-based companies, they do that. They focus on one area and they make sure that is the unique selling point and they try to do that. Uh, I think that's the difference which I found in my experience. But I am sure that you'd have your experience as well, and I would love to know, if you have other points if you'd like to include here.
Yeah, because one thing I also noticed when I was in sales time, we service-based company and we work for the client for the product. And when I want to learn the machine learning and the deep learning part, because when actually my work is my job role was data analysis. Mostly I use the tools like MS Excel, Power BI, and Tableau to make the reports and everything. But when I search about this ML things and the deep learning, I asked my team leads when we will work on this. They just said that we don't need now. The requirement is not. There is no requirement right now. So in future, where the requirement is, we'll learn that. But I go through all the websites research on YouTube that these skills like ML, deep learning, NLP, this will be booming next 2 to 3 years. So I enrolled for the course course to learn the ML engineering, ML and the deep learning. But I started learning that I got to know that it's not about the coding part, it's about the statistic part, or about machine learning is. And I'm not good in mathematics things that. But I tried my best, but it's then I got to understand that this is not my cup of tea. So I skipped that part. But I think if I get placed in any product-based company at that time, I will be at the next level. In right, not in the just the visualization.
I think, sorry, but I see this as well. Like, I speak to a lot of people and they say, like, if I am in a product based company, I would do this. The exposure, right? See, what is the difference between you working and you studying, right? So, the kind of experience you get in a company. So, service based companies also have this, like, they have a requirement and they tell you to solve it. And I think it's very similar to how you're studying in a college. So, in college, you have a syllabus and you stick to it. But what's the difference? Like when you're working, you need to do something more. Sorry. And the work you're doing needs to give you a proper platform, the correct platform for you to boom on that certain skills. And I have seen this in a lot of JDs as well. Like when they hire for data analyst, it's only the Excel. Then what's the whole point of being an engineer if you're just sticking to Excel, right? And you need to do more than that. Yes, I also, I'll be honest, and I have also used Excel. Okay, but we don't stick to that. That's the difference between a product-based company and a service-based company. We know that we need to use that tool, okay, but also we make sure that we're using it whenever required and not make it as a basis. In my current company and like the projects as well, I use Excel, but it would be very minimal. So if you're working as an ML engineer, yes, like mainly you have to work on your like mathematical skills. Like if you hate it, like it, love it, that's not an issue, but you need to use mathematics because any kind of algorithm which you work. So if you go to the very foundation of machine learning or data science, all these are algorithms, all these are just calculations, and calculations come again into mathematics. So what are you bringing? So you're just setting a wrapper for the mathematics part and representing it in a very fancy way. And beginner, when I was a beginner, I used to hate mathematics. I wouldn't like it. But I had no choice because once you know that, oh, mathematics solve this in a different way, then see, mathematics is like, it's going to come to you in a, you have a number, it's very, numerical, like quantitative. So you can analyze, okay, this is how much accuracy you will get. So you can't go to a customer or a client telling that, no, I might give you good product or I may not. You need to give them, no, this model gives you 97% accuracy and I'm going to deliver you with that. So I think ML is again a part of mathematics, whether you like it or not, you need to go to statistics and so on. As a beginner, I was like, let me just get into company and then I'll work on this. But I don't think it works anymore like this now. All the companies I have seen right now, even our company. So when we interview and when we take things on a different level, so we make sure that the person knows something about mathematics, statistics, and we try to get into the very basic level. You don't need to build a machine learning model from scratch. Nobody expects it from a beginner, but it would be a great thing. We all the companies want now is, have you contributed to any open source? Because let's say that I don't give you any requirement, or as a beginner or a fresher, even you wouldn't know what to do, right? You'd obviously again see all the GitHub projects and you try to do that. But in open source, which I think that is good, very good companies if you are trying to get hired for Google, Amazon, Swiggy, all these FANG companies, or forget about FANG companies, any financial tech companies which are into AI/ML, if you want to get hired, I see a lot of them asking for, have you contributed to open source? Have you tried to modify any ML model on your own? Have you tried to write a model from scratch? Have you tried to modify an NLP? Like, what have you done in NLP? So before, when I was starting as a fresher, they wanted you to know was, okay, do you know all of this, like ML model? Like theoretically, if you know, that's fine. If you can code in Python, that's good. And if you're able to do something, your personal projects, and if you're able to explain them, then it's great. But within a span of 1 year or 2 years, I see such huge difference. How the hiring has changed. I am like shocked. Like, okay, within a span of 2 years, if people are expecting you to already contribute to open source, have you done anything from Gen AI? Have you already created any neural networks? Then industry is going to expect a lot more. And where will you get this experience from? Right? You need to be very quick, very fast. And this again, I don't think freshers have to take this pressure that, okay, I have to do this. Take it slow as well. As a beginner, like when I also told you, I think I tried to hurry in a few things, which was kind of great for me, but also you get burnt out. Suddenly you're like, okay, like what's happening next? Because we did have few breaks between projects, and even though it was like 2 days, you don't know what to do. Like you've completed the project, you've delivered it, and next what? So you need to take a break and you need to stay updated. So how do you stay updated or take a break is give back something in return. So you've completed a project on your own for freshers and you've done something. So publish it on GitHub. And if it's not like let's say, like if you're allowed to, like if you're already working in a company and you've given something, contributed something special, then try to write an article about it, because obviously when you're working in a company, you can't upload the code publicly. So try to write some article about it. So this way, it will be very easy for you to get hired again. So I have seen a lot of, I have never applied after joining this company. I have not applied or sent out my resume even to a single recruiter, but I have gotten a lot of DMs in my LinkedIn message, and all through because I have contributed to these questions on LinkedIn, added my perspective on how you can solve a problem, try to write few articles on GitHub, try to stay ahead. So even in GitHub, you have a project you're working on and you have few questions on it. So you go answer it. So there are like a lot of bugs which you find in a project. So you have already done that project and you have bugs, you can clear it out. And that's how recruiters reach you. I don't think you can follow the old school method of sending out resume and waiting for the recruiter to call you anymore. That's not how it works now. You have to showcase your skills. Say that, oh, I have worked in this and this my knowledge and this is how I can contribute to your company. So I think that has helped. Like, even though I'm not looking out for job opportunities, I have seen a lot of recruiters following up on me, telling that, are you interested in this and so on. I see that you've worked on ML ops and I see that you've done so many contributions and I think you'd be a great hire for our company and so on. So things change. So people need to get updated, and the easiest way is do nothing. Just go on LinkedIn, be active on LinkedIn, and dedicate like 1 hour on LinkedIn. See what's happening. Follow some great people. Like connect with some genuine people who are working in this AI/ML data science fields. So don't try to put your hand in everything and try to get to know what is full stack and so on. And I think initially that was also one of the mistake which I did in early in my career. I wanted to know everything, full stack AIML, because that was like on hype. So I was like, okay, let me know everything. I want to do this. I want to do that. It doesn't take you anywhere. Like it just makes sure that you stay in such projects only. So that's when I also like, you need to have some good mentors, like not one-on-one mentors, but when you get on LinkedIn page, they give you some advice like, try to do this, try to do that. I see a lot of amazing resource on LinkedIn. Like I was like, when I was a beginner, where was this? Because in a span of like 2 years only, LinkedIn has like some amazing content. Like you don't have to go to Naukri or I think now Shine or any of these Indeed websites. But LinkedIn is just that one platform where you can get everything you want. If you know how to network properly, connect with some great people, just go out. Like I've seen a lot of beginners just trying to put the projects out and waiting for people to come. Try to reach out to people. So one step again would be like whatever you've done, put it on social media, put it on LinkedIn, talk about it, publish it on GitHub. Then you have a lot of, these communities. Go for the meetups. Something I found useful is I follow a lot of AI pages on LinkedIn, and they have these constant meetups, conferences. So I actively participate in this because there's only certain extent where your job can take you. After that, you need to be very active. You need to see what is happening right now. And when you follow articles or something, you get to know people's perspective. But when you follow some meetups, when you have certain groups or communities, or when you attend conferences, you get to know what's happening in the world. So it's not just in your company or in other companies. You get to know how it is progressing. Maybe it won't give you instant result, but you get to know on a very, like when you want to make a career out of AIML, want to be in this domain, which is again gonna sustain for like this is still like a booming technology and it's gonna stay in for like God knows how many years. I'm pretty sure that it's not gonna end up anywhere. It's still gonna keep progressing and you have to stay in this technology. AIML will become like maybe like 50 to 70% of all the technologies which we use, because now any startup company or stealth startup which have seen, everyone wants AI in their product, and although they know or they don't know what's exactly AI, they just want a piece of it. So I'm gonna embed AI in my product. I'm gonna do this. They don't know how they're gonna embed or they don't know how it is, but they want AI in that because AI is a very fancy word. People get or customers get attracted to AI. So when you want to tell, like let's say that already like in the 2 years when you are on the business side of it, so not just as a software engineer, when you work on the business side, when you talk to clients, which you will definitely do in a very long term of a career, you need to understand what AI can bring to the table. As a client, I don't want to know that okay, you will work on this code, you will bring me so much efficiency. What will I get out of AI? How can I monetize AI? So conference, meetups, all that give you an opportunity to showcase a profit, give you the profit or make profits on AI, because you're a software engineer and you can't stay a software engineer, because I was an AI engineer and then I had to know about the hardware compatibilities of AI model. So I just can't run AI models on my system and tell the client that it works on my system and I don't care how it works on yours. So you need to understand the hardware. That's where the MLOps comes in. And then when you tell the client, so this is how you can monetize the AI product. So I have built this product and it can make money in certain ways, then the client will be more impressed, right? So, when you work in when you have a career, you go a long way. Like you're just not like an intern or I think there's a huge difference I found in product-based company. Again, to add, service-based, you're just on a very one side of it. Like you deliver the service, but your manager takes like the credit or he gets along the business side. So you don't know what you're doing. You're just like this kid who's given homework in a school. You finish your homework. You don't know what you're doing it for. You just, you don't think also. So it's very like, I feel like then what's the whole point of you working? You're like, just a school kid who goes to like a different school. So you're given a homework from your teacher and your teacher knows what you're doing, but you don't know what you're doing. And what's the point of doing it? So product-based companies, they know that see, this is the product and you have to work. Please feel free to add up on the products. So again, as a beginner, I feel that you don't stay a beginner if you put the right amount of efforts. I also feel that I was a beginner and I used to feel like, okay, as a beginner, I should do this. I should only stick to this particular project requirements. And then this is also one of the huge mistake I would like to highlight. As a fresher, I think when I was working in the initial days of the project, I would just stick to the one side of the project. So I was given the certain task, ML model, build anything, and I would just stick to that. I would not go speak with the manager or with my mentor. So what exactly is this project about? What more can I do for it? What exactly is happening? So you are given that freedom. Obviously, nobody comes and spoon feeds you in the corporate. So you have to be a professional. You have to ask a lot of questions. This be very open-minded, be very communicative, speak a lot, talk about the project, what are you working on, what more can you contribute. This will help you like getting promotions, getting better hike cycles. So you shouldn't think of yourself as a beginner. Yes, you're a beginner once you graduate out of school, college. But once you enter the company, from the first day, you're not a beginner. You need to be in the process of understanding how things work in the company. You're a software engineer, but you're not just a software engineer. You need to expand your skills, speak to people, network. Since I'm in a startup, we have like around 100 people working in the Indian company, and we have a lot more on the US side. So in the Indian side, at least I try to speak to everyone, ask what's happening in the company, what are they doing? Because when you're working, although you might not get enough time or be involved in every project, you should know what's happening in your company, what's happening, what are the other projects you can be involved in. Don't worry as a beginner if you don't know how to code in Python. I was a very bad coder in the beginning, and then I took up lead and I expanded. But something which will take you a long way is being honest or upfront about it. There are certain things which I can do, there are certain things which I can't do. So your manager won't expect you to know everything in detail. It's okay. Take a chill pill. Try to take on slow things steadily. Be very consistent. I see this happening, like even in my juniors, right? They started doing everything, and within a week they got fed up because they did everything. And I see that, okay, they've started doing it and they don't have that consistency. In any domain, I think not only in AIML, but if you want to have this as a career, you want to do something big, you want to become an entrepreneur, or you want to go a long way, you need to be consistent because the trends are going to come in very slowly, be it this week or next week. And if you show like you're like full of enthusiasm and the next week you go down, then even for your manager, it's going to be very difficult to assess you what's happening. So take it slow, be consistent, and then try to take small steps. So I also like mentor students. If they come and ask me like, okay, I'm a fresher now, and how do I interview for this company? So like it's a fresher job. I'm like, okay, so what are you planning to do now? I see them telling, I went to interviews, I read all of this. I know everything theoretically, and practically also I've implemented 2 or 3 projects. Okay, but how the company doesn't want to know what you've done. The company wants to know how you can contribute to their projects. So if you've done a recommendation system or predictive analysis or so on, how will the company take advantage of that, right? So obviously, like the companies are now in the Gen AI, LLMs, and other ways. How will they take the outdated parts of ML technology, right? Like I see a lot of people already doing like projects. Yes, I know that you've done the projects, but take the skill out of the project. There's something which I've applied in the project which makes it unique, right? So try to take that, explain to the hiring manager or the recruiter that I've done this. Not just don't showcase the project. Projects are everywhere, and I've seen everyone repeating the same project, like, stock prediction, recommendation. These are very outdated. Yes, so it's very like already outdated, and I see the same set of projects repeating. So what is unique in you? What have you done which is like implemented? Have you done anything from Gen AI, LLMs? Have you tried to at least understand what is it? Have you tried to contribute to an article or something? So try to stay ahead with the technology and trends and do something which brings your value. So don't try to tell theoretically. Try to say that this is something. Also, I think the first set in a lot of coding rounds, you have like the dynamic coding round. They give you a use case to solve and so on. So they don't give you a very difficult or a very challenging program. They just give you a very simple use case and see what you can implement from the previous only. So they try to skills from your resume itself or whatever you've showcased in your college projects and so on. So they try to pick it up and they see, okay, how else can you implement? How can you think out of the box? Yes, you've implemented the skills. Can you implement it in our projects, which are in the recent emerging technologies? Can you do that? So how would you know that if you're capable of this? Once or twice you'll have to attend the interviews, go through different experience of other people who have interviewed for the same jobs and so on. So I feel that there's not like a textbook method for the beginners that, okay, you have to take the step and you will get hired. No, it was always a trial and error for me. And even now I see it's a trial and error. You take this way, it doesn't work out. Take another way, it may or may not work out another way. But all these way, you learn something, you experience something which will help you. Something which I didn't help me in the initial stage, like in the initial 1 year of my career. It has helped me now when like I don't have to put in the same amount of time or effort. Maybe back then I had put that time and effort and now I got the results. So be very patient. Don't get demotivated. Like beginner, I see like a lot of freshers like applying for the company very enthusiastically. Like the first day they apply for 100 jobs, second they're like, okay, like let's take a break. And I think after a few days they're like, LinkedIn, should I really open it? So the main key is consistency. Be patient. Don't be very over enthusiastic and later lose down your energy. Take small breaks in between. AIML is a huge field and it might get overwhelming at some times, but I think when you just jump into it, you will eventually get to know. Like you go with the flow, and I see a lot of people who have done it and being very comfortable after 1 year, telling that I thought it was difficult in the beginning, but now you're used to it. So you should never give up. I think if I had given up in the first year, I think it was very hectic. I was like, it was too much for me. But in the second year, I think now I'm able to manage like the time, the amount of work you have to give as well for every problem. You don't have to solve every problem. The projects which you get, you need to prioritize things as well. That is very important. So I think more than telling all of this, right? You just need to jump into the career, any job, whatever you get, and then try it. So along the way, you look at it in your own way and you get. So I think even when you're working as a freelancer and you have had your own set of experiences, like I am working as a full time and I have this list like scheduled, like I should do this, do that. But as a freelancer, obviously you would again like not work as a full time, but you need to put in like a lot of efforts and so on. So there's different ways, right? So
The thing is that LinkedIn helped me a lot when I decided to I become a freelancer. Okay, because that time there are the freelance things are coming up and they are charging more clients and everything. I done the things, but after that I realized for the work I want to get any work, I have to pay the amount for the pitch or everything. Then I realized why don't I work on the permanent client? Then I get to the LinkedIn. I make my profile strong for the 6 months within the 6 months, and then I start pitching the client through the LinkedIn, and I got the permanent clients. That was unbelievable part for me because I work for the clients that are US based and they have their own supermarket monthly basis. They want their visualization report and the dashboards to make their business properly, to run their business properly. So I think LinkedIn helps you a lot, but should focus the LinkedIn as you said, the getting the going through the Instagram, scroll your LinkedIn, you will get and every knowledge. Because for the 1 second also you scroll the LinkedIn, you'll get someone is sharing the chat GPT trick, someone is sharing the Python code, how it is relatable. Everything regarding your career you're getting in daily basis. Should use that thing. And yeah, because of that, I just say the consistency. Yeah, the consistency helped me a lot because in starting period, I also get like nervous little about what if I not get client. I have to go to the corporate life again or what. But the consistency helped me a lot. I pitch more about the client, and that helped me a lot. And I got the clients for the my firm, and not about my partner that
become my full time. Even I have my own firm. I don't anyone right.
Yeah, but I think also as a freelancer, you should be self-motivated because in our full-time careers, I think, yeah, because I was just going through your profile and I was like, okay, he's freelance in so many ways and like for a lot of companies and clients. And full-time, it's like your company puts that pressure on you and you that motivates you. But as a freelancer, to stay motivated for so long, and you have to try to market yourself and you have to stay ahead. Why do people would want to choose you rather than the full time? And you need to showcase your skill and you need to be on the top of the demand and so on. And as a freelancer, I think I've also seen this. I initially was working as a freelancer, but somehow I felt like one is now there are like a lot of resource like Hugging Face is free and Kaggle data sets. So whatever resource you need for your company or for your project, you get it at free of cost. You don't have to pay a lot. And coming to the MLOps part, when you want to use the cloud service, there are like 100 free alternatives which you get. I think now it's like the best market. Like, you can be a freelancer. All you have to do is like, you need to be self-motivated. You need to showcase your skills and you have a lot of competition. At least in full time, you compete with your colleagues, but in freelancing, you compete with the world, like anyone on the LinkedIn. So I think, yeah, freshers also have to be like, should choose whether they need to be a freelancer or a full-time working professional.
First gain the experience from the working company, then enter in the freelancing world. Because in this freelancing world, you have to do all the things like manager and client. It depends upon you. Doing the project, it depends upon you. Taking the bills, sending the bills, it depends upon you. Have to work that also. Everything, you have to work whole for the client. There will be no team like I am saying you that you can do the visualization part and I will handle other part. There will be no anything.
That is true. Like you're like a one-man army who's like you have no other dependence. We have like we are dependent on the UI or the backend or the database. I just stick to the AIML, but as a freelancer, you can't say that no, I just stick to that. You need to handle the project. Whatever goes up, whatever goes down, you need to step up at the right time. And obviously, sometimes I think you might have worked like without taking a break for a week or so on, just to fulfill the client requirement. I think, yeah, each of it has its own cons.
Say that there is no time limit. The client will fix call at any time at the midnight, any time they can send you the mail. I want the these changes. You have to make because whenever I go outside, also I carry my laptop with me because anytime I receive the call, it's not like the job that one came says 6 from the office. You just shut down your laptop and it's not like that.
True. I think it's like running your own business. Like you have to be everything in that, and you can take a break whenever like the project is completed, but you have to be available all time, any time to the client because that's how you make money out of it or that's your career. But yeah, I think uh, there are like a lot of challenges which you face, like even though like to have the stability of career also like freelancers have to be like they also have to know everything in the job market. At least we as AIML professionals, we stick to the AIML data science and so on, only that domain. But you guys need to work on the hardware side, the software, the database. You need to be like everything, know everything. You should be fully capable of working. Like you need to be the engineer, manager, everyone. So I think you'd have faced a lot of challenges, and again, it comes with its own pros and cons.
Yes, yes, yes. Are you planning to do any start or establish any startup company?
Well, I did have this idea in creating a startup. So initially, my idea was mainly like fintech gives you a lot of money, like as you have seen, right? So initially, when I was a beginner, I didn't know how exactly to work on this, but I always had a plan. I still have a plan of working on startup once I get enough exposure. One thing is you need that right timing for the startup, like the market demands it and you deliver it. So you get a great startup. My idea was one, again, back like in the last year at least, the stocks were on boom. There were like, even now, like there are a lot of companies who have quickly emerged into the stock marketing and everything. So I was thinking of connecting AI with the fintech, how you can try to give better analogies or like predictions on how you can invest in a stock and so on. Another one of my idea was also like you have these credit cards. In a startup company, I think, again, I was working in a startup company. So you always think like, oh, what can you deliver for the clients? What unique thing can you give them? So credit cards is mainly like, I haven't written about this, but one of it was like you have a lot of credit cards and everyone markets that you need to have a credit card, but there are different types of credit cards based on what you are, like what kind of individual you are. If you have a fixed income, if you have a differentiating income, like less or more. So I wanted to have a startup which focuses on credit card and so on. So more on that. So it again depends, like you need to focus a lot on it and dive into that process, like get in a lot of things. But as a full time, I think there are certain times you get on that idea and then you lose because you have your own work to do, obviously, because someone who works for a full time, you can't afford to lose that job. Maybe if you're like a freelancer and you have like stability as a freelancer, right? Obviously, you would have now like the freedom to work on a startup. You have your own team, obviously, now. So I think you have to get to that particular level to, have that startup mindset and everything. You need to have a support for you. And as a full time, I don't think so. Now again, I am still like connecting with people and thinking on what are the different things which are the problems. I think all I've seen in the use cases of all the startups, like there's that one tiny problem which nobody has solved, and suddenly someone just comes up with the idea, and it becomes like a big boom. And another thing is other person starts copying it, and they do it in a very good way, and they also get clicked. But that becomes like a copy paste, right? Those don't get clicked. Like again, for example, like the Zepto, Blinkit. So Blinkit worked well, Zepto worked well. Now there are other things like the big basket. So you see the margin. So they are very good in certain places. So there are a lot of things, but this was just one of my idea. But again, you have certain, like you need to take a lot of risk, which right now I'm not really, I don't think if I'm up for it, that kind of financial risk.
Yeah, it's financial risk also to make startup, because you take the funding from others, you all put your money. And yeah, it's one idea, because we live in India. In India, everyone wants the quick result. No one wants to be patient. I will tell you example. If the chat GPT founder or started the chat GPT invention in India, he will not success, because for him it takes around 7 to 10 years to build that thing. If their investors is from India, they they will trouble him after the 2 years, that where is my money and how I'm still not getting back. And the money I still invested, this money I'm not getting in internet. What you are doing? Everyone wants the result, but no one sees their effort behind that. Even investors.
I mean, I still see it in a lot of companies. Like, you get a product, and even in our company, like, we have a specific time. Like, we don't get a specific time only for R&D. With the current projects, we also do R&D for our next project, because you don't get enough time to do R&D. Obviously, the client has put money in you, and he will expect quick results. Obviously, like 1 month is okay, but you can't stretch it for too long because you're going to miss out the client. So in India, I think really the business owners, or when you get a client, you can't keep them on hold. Like, okay, after 3 months, you can get the profits. You need to be very quick. You need to do your side R&D, make sure that you come up with quick results and do. But again, that's a game of luck along with certain efforts you put in. So I think even ChatGPT was initially not a very huge success, but once I think when people understood what can it be used for and how they can make profit out of it, it's made everyone's life easier. And that's when it started making money and everyone started using. So just making products is not enough, but you need to know how it can market itself. You don't have to market it. It only needs to market, and that's when you get the real money or like the return on investment.
So Priyanka ma'am, my next question I want to ask you regarding the job. So we want to know that what was the job application process that you followed through your professional journey? What tips and tricks that help you in that process? And also tell us about the interview process. What the things you keep in your mind while going through the interview and you crack the interview?
So this was something which I followed back when I just graduated from engineering. One thing back then was we had to do our internships from the third year and the fourth year. So I think I had a very slight idea on how to apply for the internships, and basically it's quite easier for the beginners to apply for companies because you have these placement companies through your colleges, right? So that makes it like a very easier process for you to look forward to. In a very easier way, you can apply for the interviews, and your colleges, they do arrange a lot of like, they bring in the companies and they make it easier for you. So even in my engineering college, we had like internships. So I was also working as an intern in huge assisted company. So back in 2019 as a database admin. So after that, I was also placed into that company. And apart from that, we were allowed to interview for other companies like L&T and so on. So I also started attending interviews from my college. Apart from that, keeping that aside, then we had very limited resource. So the LinkedIn was not that very popular. I think we didn't have LinkedIn in 2019. So all you had to do was you had to go through surf through websites like this Naukri, Indeed and so on, and you'll have to get the jobs. And apart from that, from the placements which we used to get through our college, so we had certain rounds. Like the first round was you had like a group discussion round, and then you get selected for that, you get like a technical round. And the third one was a coding or a dynamic coding round, the dynamic programming round. And it used to go like 3 rounds or something. And this was in 2019. And apart from that, that time I had few networking. So I was also working in Huge Assistic as an admin. And since I was already in a tech park, it was near New Horizon College. So there you find a lot of companies, you meet people. So even if you're an intern, you get a lot of seniors who are already working there. So you ask them how is the work and what kind of job roles you get into. So back then also AI was not really popular, or people were not really open to AI positions. So I started applying as a full stack developer and so on in the same tech companies. Networking plays a very important role. And after my MTech again, 2 years forward, I had a very fair idea or a good idea as to what is happening in the industry. So the first one was, apart from the books or the syllabus you go through your MTech syllabus, the second one is, I think there were a lot of really good resources which I found. So definitely I would suggest, once you get a job, a technical documentation from that particular language or anything, you can never skip it. But apart from that, if you're a beginner, and a technical documentation will definitely scare you. So I think you can go through, there are like a lot of courses. Like I went through Andrew Ng's deep learning course, a lot of course from Coursera, and right now you have it from Udacity, Udemy courses. I would not suggest any particular course. The reason being, when you go for a course, right, you can't stick with the course through the end. You learn something, you apply something, and you go to the next course. So I would not recommend freshers to stick to a course. The basics of machine learning, or there are certain books. So one was the book which Machine Learning for Beginners with Scikit, TensorFlow, PyTorch. This is from O'Reilly Media Publishers as well. So their books are really good. Like all the machine learning books from O'Reilly publisher, I have referred and I still refer to it like on certain basis. And there was this one book in MTech which it was a really great book. So it's called again Deep Learning for Beginners and Deep Learning from Scratch. So these two books are really amazing if you want to have like a head start for machine learning and deep learning. Again, books for beginners are something like where you get a head start. But once again, AI/ML consists of like Python coding and so on. So you need to start hands-on learning. So there are books which have like this hands-on learning for beginners as well. Although I would not recommend books for hands-on learning, you need to get on a platform, and Lead Code again is a great website for beginners. I think I also, it made my job searching very easier when I started, programming and lead code. So they have like from beginner, intermediate to advanced programming questions. You will get a lot of exposure from this. And apart from all of these, go through all the LinkedIn articles, blogs, because you need to be updated as a fresher. Back then in 2019 to 2020, people were not expecting the freshers to know everything. But now people do and now the way the interview trends have changed is before you should have like these certain rounds. Like first would be group discussion, the second one would be a technical interview, third would be maybe like more area related to your expertise or your field of expertise. So any other resources which I would find more helpful is again start with the lead code. So there are two types of companies for beginners which you would actually interview for. One is the kind of company where it also depends on how much the company wants you. So let's say that there's a few startup companies which are like, okay, we'll give the freshers a chance and later we can train them and work accordingly. So what you have to do is there are two things. One, if a company really wants to hire or if they have need of freshers or beginners, so depending on the company's capacity, role and so on. So one, what you're going to do is they're going to give you some easy task. So you get a lot of like assessments before only. As far as I have seen, you get few assessments like to know what you can do. So they're going to give you assessment like create a recommendation system. And then they have their own company data. They'll share it with you and they will ask you to do some data analysis and so on. So this will be an assessment round. And based on that assessment, you will be asked questions in the next round once you clear that assessment. That would be again a virtual mode and so on. So after that, what you will be focusing on is mainly you will have to focus on how you have taken the assessment, how you cleared it. So they will not only ask you how you cleared it, but they will ask you the reason as to why you took that solution. AI/ML is again a very huge domain. So be clear on what are you trying to apply for. So let's say that if you're a beginner, obviously you'll be given a beginner role like a AI research assistant or AI engineer, and a very where the senior most will be guiding you through again. But they will expect you again to know the very basic of your coding language, which is Python again. Python is used in every AI/ML job now, and also in a lot of other full stack developing positions and so on. So since AI/ML uses it as a very main foundation, so you will need to know Python. There are like hundreds of materials which you get on Google, on online sources where you can learn from Python what exactly it is. As far as I have seen, even when I was applying for jobs and so on, side I would also mentor students. So whatever I used to learn, I would also mentor. I would take interviews for the other students as well. So I think that helped me a lot. So how would you actually crack or something? And even though you don't try to crack an interview or don't take a lot of pressure, try to attend interviews as much as possible so that you will get an idea. So before landing into my AI/ML job, I was still a MTech student and I was also working in Nokia as an intern. So even though I had no plans of actually being an AI engineer or getting into a role, I wanted to explore the market. I would definitely suggest beginners to explore the market, because maybe when you graduate from your college, there might be recession or there might be some decline in hiring opportunities in the market. So beginners mainly, there's no like a very textbook method of applying to jobs. You'll have to make sure that you explore the market. So before there was a recession and a lot of people had stopped applying for jobs. But now I see that the market is racing up and going down again and again going up. So it depends. Like, I think we even saw the situation where in COVID, the demand was high from the market, but a lot of people started resigning the jobs. And that was like the best market for the beginners to jump into the market. So you have to make sure that you're not just sticking to the process, like you're not just studying and applying for the jobs. You have to make sure that what kind of jobs you're applying for. Another main tip I think I see beginners missing out is even when they apply for the companies which I'm currently in as well. When I interviewed freshers, I see a lot of very generic resume. So they have one single resume and they send it to everyone. I think whenever you're applying for a company, try to make very tiny, small changes depending on the domain. If you want to apply for a healthcare domain in AI/ML, try to showcase your projects which are focusing or dependent on healthcare. Or if you want to apply for finance, so try to show projects which you've done on finance or doing projects for finance. So mainly start customizing your resume, your skills, and then I think you'll be getting, or there are higher chances of the recruiters calling you back. If you send a generic resume telling that you've done all of this, the recruiters will not know what to do with you. So you also have to be sure, like you have to think for the recruiter. So what makes it easy for the hiring manager or the recruiter to choose you? One, if you've worked in that domain, or if you're showcasing the skills which the company needs, it will be easier for them and faster for you to join the company. So try to showcase your skill, customize your resume in every job you choose. And again, get a lot of referrals, because now I see that a lot of referrals work, because I would obviously hire another person if someone can guarantee, okay, I know him and he has worked in so many projects. So referrals also work and take you a long way. So there's not like a textbook method, but I think you'll have to explore a bit of this, a bit of that. So start learning on your own, start applying for jobs, network, start contributing on Hugging Face, Kaggle communities. And there you will also find people who are hiring for the jobs. And I've seen a lot of people, reaching me out if I'm interested in getting hired from their company, seeing my portfolio. So build a very strong portfolio, showcase what you know, and be very specific for every company, because I don't see a recruiters wasting a lot of time in just going through all the general stuff and then telling, oh, this may work. They need like 100% guarantee that you will fit all or check all the boxes in which the company needs. So explore everything, be very consistent in that. So this will definitely, work out for the beginners.
Yes, even I have one question regarding the certification. You talk about certification, right? So I
Yeah.
also noticed one thing, that if you do the certification from the official sites, like for example, if I want to do a certification for deep learning, if I go to the official site of deeplearning.ai, so
Yeah.
that certificate is more valuable than the other certificate that we get from the third party like Coursera or Udemy. Do you think that
Yes.
is that true? Because they have exams also. When you crack the exam, then only you will get certificate from the official website.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah, the founder of machine learning, or the Andrew Ng. So he has created his own course, right? It's a part of even Harvard course as well. So mainly what happens, one, if you go to the official website, the founders of that particular library or that framework will actually go through the syllabus and check the syllabus and questions for you. So that will be more helpful, because it will be like as if you already know the technical documentation for that. Rather than these Coursera will try to take it a very simple level. So I have personally audited few courses from Coursera and the official courses, like if you go to the Andrew Ng course and deep learning, PyTorch, TensorFlow, all of these. So the official courses are, I can say that it's actually complex and very hard. But if you are able to crack through that, I feel that you don't need any technical documentation, or you don't actually need to do any project, because they've set the workflow or the course flow in such a way that they are the founders, obviously. So they will know better, and they will know what you need to know to go through the industrial standards of that particular framework or course, whatever you're studying. What happens in Coursera, they try to promote these courses. So they try to make sure that the student has to stay from the beginning to the end. So they try to, take away a lot of things, try to show you a lot of fancy things. And maybe you get only the surface level of what is in a course, rather than you understanding in a very deep level. And I am not really sure if you can actually gain any practical knowledge which you can apply to the company side of projects. So I don't think official is always best, because I, as a professional, would always recommend my juniors or the freshers to start working on the technical documentation. So I don't go through, even when I have a new framework which I have to start learning, right? I think the most recent was Fast API, and I had to implement it in something. So I didn't go through Google or the course for that. I went to the technical documentation, understood what's happening, and I felt that was the best way. So that's how you go through a career. So in the beginning, yes, I do understand if you're going through some course to understand, but a technical documentation is a very clear-cut documentation. Any professional will guide you that you have to go through the technical documentation. But for beginners, I understand it's a bit difficult and tedious. So it's better you go through the official official courses. And I feel that most of the official courses are very free. I have gone through most of it, like the computer vision and deep learning, machine learning. artificial intelligence. So most of these are given on the official websites, and they're completely free, and you can obviously even audit few courses and you can take care of it. So I think this would be a very good approach for the beginners.
Yes, even we talking about the resume, the main part of the resume is about the project section, what the projects you had done in our college also, and a personal projects you had done. So I want to
Right.
know that there is any specific way to do the projects, like for example, if I want to get in the finance domain, so if I do the finance related projects only, so that will be beneficial for my getting the job or the chances. And can you please suggest us that what are the projects types should the freshers or the students should choose to put in their resume?
Yeah. So the first point where you told that you have to hand make certain projects depending on what kind of domain you're choosing, right? So the first one would, again, when you're applying for a company, right? So if you show them the projects they make you work on, it would, you could skip one level because the company already knows that, okay, you're great in fintech and you've already worked on projects regarding the finance. So it'll be easier for them to connect to you. So they would, instead of asking you most general questions and doubting your skills, they will already know that you have worked in finance projects and you have the very basic level of understanding, and they can deploy you to a project rather than training you. So this would be one approach where you would skip certain levels in a company once you already work on the projects which they want. The second one is, again, let's say you have certain projects, or what kind of projects you want to choose. I think now beginners are already given so many guides, or go to any company's website. So you want to apply. So one is choosing a domain. If you want to go to agriculture, healthcare, fintech, and if you get really overwhelmed by these domains, forget all of them. Go through very generic. So I could also recommend certain GitHub profiles or the portfolios where you have the very generic machine learning projects, AIML projects. So you can go through that, and it's not necessary that you have to implement each one of them. So when project is just one way of showcasing your skill that, okay, I have actually applied this. But in a very main thing, you also need to tell them what kind of algorithm you have applied. So obviously I can't say that I've done a recommendation system or a computer vision project. It will be very generic. So what will the company know about what kind of project you've done, right? If you tell that, okay, I've implemented a CNN based computer vision project, or have used recurrent neural networks, or have used RAG system in my project with 97% accuracy or 89%, and have optimized it so much using algorithms, I think this would be a very best approach. So doing project is one thing, but showcasing that project on your resume, telling that you've implemented this algorithm with this much accuracy, optimized. So be very technical when you're describing the project which you've done. Be very technical, telling that. So that time the recruiters or the hiring managers or the interviewers so will directly focus on that particular component, will ask you, and they will get to know that you already know it, and they will hire you. If you just say recommendation system, first they're going to start with what is a recommendation system, what algorithms have you implemented, how much accuracy you got, how did you optimize it? So that would be a very tedious, long process, and you might not know the answer to everything which they ask. So that will also decrease the confidence in the technical managers. So try to use keywords and the projects. Go through few generic projects, like not based on a particular domain, but these recommendation systems, CNN, artificial neural networks, LLMs, if you're applying for certain kind of companies. So you will know, like even AIML is a huge domain. So you need to focus on if it's AI, ML, deep learning, computer vision, LLMs, Gen AI, what do you want to do? So the market also has become very complicated now. So be very specific in what kind of projects you want to do. But as far as that, I think you will get a lot of projects or the portfolios which you can easily use and start building up your profile the way you want. So try to use some generic projects. There are many GitHub profiles which will help you to do that in the LinkedIn as well. So try 5 projects and then make it more specific.
Yes, even in last podcast, there was the AIML engineer who came to my podcast. He also suggested the
Yeah.
thing about the project that don't do the projects that are everyone is doing. Like for example, like Titanic dataset or credit card
Correct.
fault detection. That are too common projects nowadays. Too common. If you want to do the project, if you are searching for the data, search the data from the downside, because more the trending data are already at the so many of the students had done the project. So try to find the data set that no one has done the project in yet. So you will get more knowledge about that project also. Even in before that last podcast, one data scientist said that he conducted the interview that their company have the ATS system where they have put the exam projects like the Titanic data set, credit card fault detection, pizza sales analysis. This type of project they got in resume, their resume directly go to the left side, means not selected because of the repetitive
True.
projects. Because their opinion is like you are doing this project like doing the copycat. Okay, you are not working on this
Yes.
project. So try to choose the unique type of project instead of going through the same project.
That is true. Like, see, now there are a lot of resources available which are free of cost. The data sets, like you have Hugging Face, Kaggle, and World Data Set, and so on, right? So, what is the company point of view in this is that more than you will choose this data set, but what are you going to do with that data set? You're going to use the same old methods to approach that data set. So, take for example, like the Titanic data set, credit fault, credit fraud, and also stock prediction, right? So what will you do from these data set? You already know the approach, which hundreds of people behind you also have also used the same approach, right? One thing the company expects you is that when their client comes up with new information or new data, you need to use a very unique approach. And when you want to use that unique approach, you obviously won't get it by using the same old data set. So try finding there are a lot of data sets. How will you get this data set is again by actively participating in the communities. So even when you go to Kaggle, right? So there are certain hackathons and competitions which are happening. So you get new data set, you get new challenges, and you will get to know how to approach those challenges. So this will build up the way you think. AI/ML is just application level, but how do you apply AI/ML to your data set depends on you, right? There are already like a lot of supervised, unsupervised techniques, but the data set on which you choose to apply these methods should be unique. You don't get new data or new approaches from these Titanic data set, credit card or spam detection, all of these, because already people have applied. So you don't get anything new. What is new in that, right? And if I have a company and if I get a new data set from a new client, I want people who would recognize, oh, this is something different and I can approach this in a particular way. Not the same old ways where they're going to start cleaning the data, imputation of the data. They don't want same old methods. So it has to be unique, and you will do that only by choosing unique data sets.
Yes, right. So, ma'am, next important point I want to discuss with you regarding the nowadays the non-tech background students are entering in the tech industry. Like for example, like commerce background or arts background students are coming in the tech industry. They are trying to get a job as a data scientist, data analyst, cloud engineer, and another developer part. So, what do you think? Skills matters or degree matters in the AI/ML field? And what roadmap you will suggest for the non-tech backgrounds to get into the AI/ML?
To begin with, not only AI, any job in engineering market, it needs both skills and the education. Education will give you a head start. So if I apply for a company, obviously they're going to check what have I been doing till now. So how will you trust a person and tell them to do a particular job without knowing if they're capable of doing it? So obviously I wouldn't have come so far if I hadn't done MTech. So I have also gotten opportunities which the BTech students haven't gotten, because they need more professionalism, they need more unique skill set, which I've gotten through MTech again. So background also matters, and also doesn't mean that it's only the background and people from non-tech domains have not come into AI/ML. I have seen a lot of other companies who have hired for from the non-tech backgrounds as well. Not only about the commerce or anything, but I've seen like from mechanical engineering also they have come into AI/ML and they're doing really well. So the first one is education or the background takes you only so far to get you make sure that, there's other service-based companies which look at like you need to have like a engineering, you should be an engineering graduate. And after that, MTech or anything is just a bonus for you. You can be a PhD also, it would be a great bonus and it's good. There are also other startups which they don't see your background. They just want to make sure that, okay, if you've had certain knowledge about this domain and see how well you are capable of adapting to this domain and the skill set, I think you'll be great to go. I've seen some really good friends of mine who are from different backgrounds. They are from mechanical engineering, commerce, and so on. And they have done explicitly well in AI/ML field. So So there are two sides again of any industry. So one is your background, certain companies. It all depends on the company's requirements. If company wants someone with a certain background or certain educational degrees, then obviously they'll go for it, and later they'll train and see their efforts and so on. But education will take you only to certain, like getting hired. But after that, you can't rely on your education, right? You need to start working and you need to start putting efforts in the work you do. Try to be more explorative, try to dive deep into every other technology. You come with certain syllabus in the education, but after that, every day the market keeps, changing, the trend keeps changing. Gen AI was never in my MTech syllabus or cloud service for that. So I had to put in a lot of effort to get into that domains and become an expertise in that. So efforts also take you a long way, and obviously both go hand in hand, but efforts will always be rewarded. So you should always see for the company which you're working for and see where it goes. But again, I also see that there are certain companies which will, again, pressurize you to have a MTech degree, PhD later on, because to get certain patents and so on, right? So if you're mainly working in a startup company and companies which are mainly funded by research, obviously the investors who would invest in that company would ask, like, do you actually have MTech holders or PhD holders who can do this job for us? So there's certain, depending on what kind of skill you want to. If you want to just be an ML engineer who don't want to focus on the research side, get patents and so on, then non-tech or tech, it doesn't really matter. But if you want to go into the research side and try to get some patents and work along side, then you need to have an MTech degree you need to specialize in that. So that again, like, depends on the situation and the company.
Yes, right. So, ma'am, next question I want to ask you regarding the what programming languages and tools the beginner should focus to enter in AI/ML industry.
Python programming is again the foundation of AI/ML. So far I have seen that not a lot of companies. I think our programming language is used at certain schools and colleges, but I don't see it being used in a lot of companies. So mainly a lot of companies focus on Python. So you need to know everything from scratch to the expertise level, at least in Python. And they also ask you, like, how much would you rate yourselves in Python? And then there are certain frameworks, like you need to know about NumPy, Pandas, scikit-learn, and then computer vision libraries, Seaborn, Matplotlib. So these are certain basic and very important. So as a AI/ML engineer, I use these daily, TensorFlow, and you also need to know about certain hardware. So I use CUDA as hardware, so which is again for the running the ML models. And apart from this, now the market expects you to know what is cloud, understand what is SageMaker, AWS or GCP, any cloud of your choice. So try to get some understanding, basic level of understanding what is cloud, because once you dive into AI/ML, then you need to know the server level deployment, the cloud, and all of that. So that again comes as a part of package. But as a beginner, I think Python would be great if you're an expert in Python. I think you would obviously be selected. And NumPy, Seaborn, and all of these basic packages, which again the libraries are already written. You don't have to write it from scratch. So if you just have an understanding of what these libraries are, and PyTorch, TensorFlow models, and Hugging Face models, how to use them, a basic level understanding of this would be great. And since you've come into AI/ML, mathematics, statistics come as a part of package, because to implement these algorithms, you need to know what is the mathematics behind them. So try to get comfortable with mathematics and statistics. If you are working as a data analyst, then you need to have a basic understanding. So you need to have all these in mind for the interview, at least.
Yes, right. So, ma'am, point I want to discuss about the job role, because talking about the AI/ML job role, that was the moreover the senior type of job role. Like if you want to the AI engineer, you have the experience around the 3+ years in data science, 4+ years in data science, or ML engineer. So, what was the job role for the freshers or the students, we can say, to enter in the AI/ML industry?
Freshers usually get kind of jobs which are like 1 to 2 years experience or 0 to 2 years experience. So mainly they would be again AI engineer, data analyst, which would be your entry level jobs. So the job roles would be more of like data scientist junior, AI/ML engineer, again of a junior level, starting level data and analyst, research assistant, so on. So these would be the job roles. And as you go further, you will get like into data scientist and more expertise level based on your experience, what have you worked on, and so on, like senior level engineer and all.
Even data engineer also, right?
Yeah, so data engineer also is a part, but mainly data engineer is more of like they focus on the data side. Like you need PySpark, Apache, Kafka, all of these you need to be more aware of this. So it focuses more on the data, the database side, how you handle. But that would be again very, I would say, a bit difficult for the freshers to understand what's happening. So you can get selected as a data engineer, but you need to understand what is PySpark, Apache, Kafka, all of this at a very basic level if you want to get into as a data engineer.
So next point I want to discuss about the networking, that how important is networking in the AIML industry and what are the some good ways to do the network.
Networking plays a very important role when you want to apply for jobs or when you want to move up in the industry. So when a fresher wants to step into the industry, right? So you need to have certain referrals. I think at least now, even if the market demand is very low, you will get jobs if you have a very good network and if you are being referred by someone. So that also helps you. And networking is something where you just connect with the professionals. Network need not be like you have to be really great friends. You have to keep in touch with, right? Just go through. You would see like a lot of hiring symbols on LinkedIn. So that would be another way where you can connect with them. So just connect with them, drop in a message telling that, hey, I think I'd be great for this role. Could you just refer me for this role? And these are my projects. This is my resume. This is my portfolio. Please have a look at it and get back to me. And what are the other ways you can network is try to start connecting with people of your same domain. So if you're an AIML engineer or an AIML student, try to start connecting with people who are working in AIML domain. That will help you network well. Start following some great bloggers. They will help you understand how exactly it will work. I have seen a lot of people on LinkedIn, particularly keeping a lot of time for I'm hiring or my friend is hiring so and so for so and so company. Have a look at it and so on. Or DM me for referrals. So that would be another way. And in your communities like Kaggle, AIML, there are like a ton of groups on LinkedIn where you can find people who are exclusively who are hiring. You can refer them or they will refer you. So there are like a lot of, as of now, I have seen a lot of communities on Google or on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn would be like the best platform. You don't need any other platform. Going through every platform would also be very exhausting for you. Try to keep one platform, network well there, have certain amount of followers, which will where a lot of people will recognize you for your skills, start writing a lot of blogs, start contributing to GitHubs. I've seen a lot of people getting hired because they contributed something unique to GitHubs. So that will also work. Follow some company pages, follow with the recruiters, connect with the recruiters directly and try to do it. And I see a lot of companies hiring through hackathons and so on. But again, networking takes you a long way because these are just 20 or 30%, but if you network well, I think that will give you like 70% chances of getting hired as of now, because human connections or networking is like the base of hiring now. So people don't look at your resume more. They would rather ask your previous company employee or your recruiter or anyone else, how was your job or what have you done? And they can easily recruit you.
But ma'am, talking about the network, nowadays on LinkedIn, there are so much scams also going on with the freshers because freshers don't know what the process of application, what the process of interview properly. So they get the scam calls, they ask for the money and somehow they paid the money. Recent news, before the 4 days I saw on the Twitter that in Hyderabad, there are a team of 4 girls. They are doing the scam with the many fresher students and they have earned around 75 lakhs from that scam. Okay, from last 2 years, they are giving the certificate joining of Infosys, Wipro like that. And they are the next level proper scammers. So how they can freshers can stay away from these types of scams?
Like I told, see, LinkedIn is a great platform, but again, scamsters or anyone, people who would want to do fraud, right? They would again occupy these platforms. And it's not like every job you posting which you find on LinkedIn is genuine. There are like around 50% amount of dead jobs on LinkedIn just to get the number of resumes so that they can contact people to do all of this. They also post dead jobs which don't even exist. And beginners, they have to be very careful. So I think this is where networking plays a very important role. So you actually know a person and you know that they're genuine and you know how this works. So one thing is when you apply apply for jobs, right, have certain amount of sense where, you know that, okay, if there are like product-based companies or service-based companies. So I also, even now, I get a lot of calls telling that you want a job or everything. So you should know that there are certain things which will not work now. So when someone calls you and tells that you want a job without them having a job, then, without them having a particular role, like I'm hiring for so and so role, are you interested in this role or something? That would be genuine. But I'm just looking, are you looking out for a job? It's like, it's a very open-ended question. So be very specific about what kind of job you want, and please avoid, again, these scamsters or fraud calls. And I don't think any fresher has to pay money for getting a job. And if they put enough time for their portfolios or building their portfolios, I don't think they really have to pay, or they have to be more considerate about what exactly they want, right? So they have to be aware for at least starting 1 year or something. Try to do internship, try to do be associated with companies, be a freelancer, try to get something so that people don't see you as freshers and they try to scam you. So just go away from this beginner tag and try to get indulged in some domain work which will give you some experience. So that will also help you. I think a lot of people get scammed just because they're freshers, and people feel that they're just too naive enough to not know how the industry works. But I understand that happening in 2019 or back then. But even now, given that you have enough internships at least where you don't tag yourself as a beginner, I think you shouldn't be scammed. The freshers should stay away from these calls.
Yes, because the scammers are everywhere on every social media platform. So students should get aware that how you can stay away from this, because no one in any company they ask for the money for the joining, like joining fees or care registration fees or anything fees. So they can aware. There are the many videos on YouTube how you can check their process of the job. They can explain you everywhere. So go through it. Also suggest it.
Correct.
Yes. So ma'am, my next question is that in which industry or which domain there are the many jobs available in 2024 regarding AI/ML?
It depends on the demand again. Now I see that a lot of companies are recruiting for LLMs, Gen AI, Google Cloud, like cloud service based AI/ML jobs. Mainly like depending on what they need. I see a lot of companies also hiring for computer vision and so on. So now what have companies done is mainly they don't hire you for like generalized AI/ML. They already are set into like, I want to work, like I have projects of the healthcare or agriculture or fintech or videos and so on. So they try to hire you based on that. So many of the computer vision companies make sure that you're a computer vision engineer, and they hire you if you have certain level of experience in that. And they look at certain companies. They also have mainly in NLP. Right now, as far as I have seen, it's in NLP, Gen AI, LLMs, and also certain CNN based models and so on. So computer vision based models. So these four are like in high trending. So although they wouldn't expect the beginner to already have experience in this, they'd want certain level of experience, because I think these four already have enough foundation, and they have their own websites where they give challenges out to beginners, and they hire based on if the challenge is solved. So these four are also there. And again, it goes on when you keep exploring, right? The market also shifts. So it's not only like AI/ML, but in other, however, the demand. So I don't see a lot of demand now for compared to AI/ML engineers, right? I don't see a lot of demand for full stack developers or database admin, because these two are very stable technologies. AI/ML is still progressing. There's a lot of innovations happening in AI/ML. So there's a way where AI/ML can progress. It can branch out into certain subdomains. Like we have AI, just ML, computer vision engineers, Gen AI engineers, LLM based engineers, and all of that. But full stack, it's more of like they already are very stable and they're very settled. So it depends on the demand and how the market is branching out, the kind of need the company also have, right? So depending on that, the market also shifts to that particular spectrum.
Yes, yes. So ma'am, what is the one mistake you have made in your professional life, and what you learned from that one mistake?
I think I've done several mistakes. The first one was the main one one is when I started as an intern, I was not very communicative. I was given a task and I used to finish that task and I used to give it to my senior and I'd go back. I was like, okay, I've done the task and I've given it and I'll go. But this is a huge mistake, which also I think costed me a lot because one, you need to communicate. As a fresher, right? You need to understand, like I told before also, when you're put in a project, don't worry if you're an intern, if you're a fresher, or if you're just starting out, you need to understand the project in between, like the entire project. You need to be very communicative with your manager, with your seniors, with your mentors. What are they doing? What is your role in the project? How can you contribute more? Because here nobody will spoon feed you. And in this industry, I don't think anyone will encourage you to do all of this or to be communicative, ask people questions. Because obviously it's not their job. Whatever your job, you will have to understand. And this was one of the mistakes. I didn't actually really communicate well with what was happening. And my manager also, we had a talk and telling that, no, you need to understand the entire project. You just can't, focus on one thing. So be very technical on the soft skills as well. So try to communicate with each of the team members so that you will understand what are your improved areas. So there are certain companies which you will have a review like once your project gets over or once in a year or like that. But I feel as a fresher, right, you need to have review meetings with your manager very often because that will help you understand where you stand in the company, where you stand in the project, where you stand in your career. This will take you a long way because if you don't ask questions as a beginner, you wouldn't know how to ask questions later also after like 1 or 2 years of your work experience. You don't know like what should I do or how should I ask questions. Asking questions is a very important skill in AIML or any other way because that's how you get answers and that's how you will understand about the company. Here it's not like a textbook where you will be given a textbook. You will have to go through it. You need to ask questions, you will get answers. And that's how you will get into better projects, better companies, better hike cycle, better promotions and positions in your company. I think this was one mistake which I did. And another one was, I wouldn't say this as a mistake, but as a beginner, there were certain phases. One, I would get deeply involved and given a task for me, I would be very involved. I would just go deep dive into the task. Instead of finishing the task, I would just focus on to learn more about the task. So obviously I would lag behind the deadlines. So make sure that when you're given a deadline, try to finish up the task. Later, leave the remaining timeline for your research. Don't do research first. Get to know everything, but you are, lagging behind in the work. So this is something which I used to do. And then I understood, no, that's not how it works because companies pay you based on how many deadlines you've finished and are you up to the mark. They don't care how much you learn. You can take your time. You can take your own time to learn. But finish up the work first and then start researching on more work. And the third one I would tell is mainly try to understand everything which happens in a project. So make priorities. Prioritizing your task is so important as an individual member of the team that you will set an example that, okay, this is my priority and I'm going to do this and later I will go to the next thing. Because once you don't prioritize things, it's going to be very difficult. So here, people see you as a professional. So you're not seen as a fresher or a beginner once you step into the company. So you need to prioritize your task from day one. When you have a KT or when you want to learn something, when you're given a project, make sure you prioritize things. This will take you a long way. You don't have to manage your time or make sure that you take everyone's task and you do it. You just prioritize things and people automatically will start assigning you tasks and you will grow ahead in your career. I think these 3 things helped me a lot in my career as well. But also other things, I think, don't try to make a lot of mistakes by yourself. Try to understand others' mistakes as well and make sure that you don't repeat it by yourself because we don't have a lot of time in doing mistakes on our own and then learning from it. So you need to learn from others' mistakes and try to. So this is where the podcast comes in or when the conference. So they will tell their mistakes so that you don't do it. They will tell what approaches they used. You don't. So I make it a point to listen to every podcast, like at least one podcast in 2-3 days so that it's beneficial for my career as well because you don't have time to make your own mistakes and there are other domains like subdomains in AIML which you would not be aware of. So you need to be very blogs, podcast will help you, conference, GitHub pages, the issues pages and all. So they'll help you. So these were the mistakes I made. But in career wise, we focus on the soft skills as much as you focus on the technical. I have seen a lot of freshers, like even my colleagues, or not my colleagues, but when I started out as a student, a fresh graduate, I see a lot of people like they are amazing in technical skills, but somehow in the soft skills, they forget how to, I know that they know it. Okay. But if you don't express it in the right way, then you might lose out on the opportunities. So focus on soft skills is very important as much as you focus on the technical skill. So for beginners, at least, it is very important. Once you get into the industry, you have people around you. You will eventually learn from the people. You will eventually learn from their mistakes. You will eventually learn how you have to be. But in freshers, you should be very communicative. Ask very clear questions, precise questions. Don't be afraid of asking questions, learning, and listening to the podcast, blogs, and so on. I think these are very important, at least which made me understand how important these are for my career.
Yes, because at this point of the mistakes, we know that others mistake. That means many people teach us that what things you have to do in the professional life, but no one teaches us what to not do. You have to avoid these things. These things are so many less people teaches you this thing that you don't have to do to get something. From this mistake thing only, they get to learn about what I have to don't do or what I have to don't follow in the industry.
Yes.
So, ma'am, my next two questions are little bit front that are not related to the tech industry, but will depend on the tech industry more about you are from the Silicon Valley of India, that is Bengaluru. So, I want to ask this question. So, ma'am, there was the news came from the India Today that Karnataka government pushed for the IT companies to display the number of Kannadigas employees as reported by the India Today. Do you feel this policy might get cross tech giant to the recognized Bengaluru as their base, or do you think it's more of an adjustment to showcase inclusivity?
Yeah, so showing the number of Kannadigas who work, right? I think it would be a government's another chance of trying to understand how many Kannadigas are being recruited by the companies. Mainly, I see like there are tons of startups. There are like a lot of companies for every, cross or street after you cross Self-Board or in the South Bangalore or the North Bangalore. So there are like a lot of companies. Now, this might be a step of government to show that, okay, even Kannadigas are being involved because primarily Bangalore, I think there are like a mix of diverse people here, right? So the government also wants to understand that if primarily the main people are being given a chance to work and so on, what's happening in the IT industry. Second, I don't think it would be a very huge problem because I feel that Kannadigas are a part of every company. So I see that, even in the company which I work, and there's so many people who work in different companies. So the number, I think it would be very hard to track even for the government because there are like so many companies and getting the statistics of all the Kannadigas, it will be quite difficult and, very difficult to track or keep consistent results of. And I see that even as a part of diverse program, now companies are making sure that they will hire every kind of individual in the company. So they give equal opportunity to everyone. So based on the skills and based on the merit or the excellence they've shown in the skills, they do have equal opportunities to everyone. And being the Silicon Valley, I feel that it's being given chance to all the Bangaloreans and all the people who are settled in Bangalore. So I think this would again be like not a huge issue, but something which the companies can overlook. It's just like just getting a license or something like that. So it's a part of the procedure. That's it.
So my next question was that considering the recent events where pro-Kannada activists damaged the signboards in the Bengaluru for not using the local language as they mentioned by the Times of India, do you believe that such an incidents create a sense of discomfort for the companies, or this be a minor issue that the tech industry can easily overlook?
I think there's a minor issue. I myself have seen videos where they are doing this, and I don't think it's only for the companies. I think they've done it for every other industry, like the hotel industry and so on. I think this can be overlooked. It's because mainly I feel that now people want a sense of being included everywhere. I feel that, how companies also celebrate the South Indian festivals, the North Indian festivals. So they give equal importance So Diwali, Dasra, they all are being celebrated as a part of everyone's culture. So I feel like, respecting everyone's culture is very important when you're working in IT companies. So the IT companies also make sure that people are not being disregarded in their feelings or sentiments towards these culture. So I feel that a lot of companies, my own company, we do have the signboards both in Kannada and English. We feel that it's a very minor thing which we can do to be a part of something. So I feel that companies also celebrate a lot of festivals, and this is also another part of celebration where you just be involved in another activity. So I think a lot of companies have already overlooked, and I don't see that this being a very huge discussion from the technical side. And there were videos which were surfacing regarding this incident, but I don't think, as a part of my personal experience, a lot of tech industries have overlooked this. They feel that, okay, it's another activity, or like it's another way we can be a part of a culture. So we're going to do that. So I think it's easier because, it's just a company's name being in in the local language. So which is again, trying to respect the government's feeling or the activities. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not more about the government. Also, we have to respect our language, our culture, our tradition,
That's true.
and everything where
True.
we stay.
And I see even as a part of my personal experience, I've seen a lot of my colleagues, making an effort to speak in Kannada with me. And I think it's really nice. Like, you be a part of someone's culture and you respect the culture by, being involved in that. Because a lot of people who have been staying in Bangalore, I have seen like they've made a lot of efforts to communicate in Kannada and likewise. So I think it's also another way where, you get included in another culture and, you respect. So that's again another part of it.
Yes. So Priyanka ma'am, the last question I want to ask you that where do you see India in next 5 years in artificial intelligence, and how we can compare ourselves to all European countries in artificial intelligence? Because the ChatGPT founder has also said that the large language model like ChatGPT that will be not built by the India in next 10 years. So what do you think about that?
Personally, I have like a biased opinion on this, definitely, because I see all these great engineers who have worked in really good startups like Google and so on. All of them have some involvement, right? Even every great engineer who's been a part of huge industries which are like currently residing in India or residing out of India, I think Indians have been a part of everything. So it goes without saying that if given a lot of effort and make sure that in the next 5 years, I feel that I have huge confidence that in AI industry, I think it's going to go like 5 folds or like more than that, because we have a lot of programs like Make in India and so on. If such programs, there are also programs which focus on the AI/ML programs. So again, Indians, without saying, they've contributed a lot in engineering domain, and the Indians are always a part of everything. So with a bit of effort and make sure that things stay in India without going out of India, I think India can make huge amount of progress. But again, depends because I feel that controversially there are like a lot of posts or migrations which are happening, like people moving out of India for job opportunities, career opportunities. And again, now I see that there's another change where people again come back to India because the kind of salary we get in India is much higher than what we get out of India based on the standard of living, the way the cost and the income balance and so on. So this might change anywhere between the next few years, like between the next 2 or 3, 5 years and so on. So you never know what happens. It all depends on how people try to balance and how exactly it has to go in AI/ML field. So AI/ML is again, you focus on the research part, and depending on the research fund, how much support you're given, that also makes a huge impact on how well you're funded, how well you're supported. That's how you can make real progress. So that in the research field, then if you're given enough progress, money, if you're well funded, then it will take you along ahead. As far as outside India opportunities, yeah, it's easier for Indians to make progress there because you have every kind of support and so on. So depending on, now I see a lot of support, well-funded programs. They're like, a lot of fundings with no interest or low interest for the women startups. So if I see that the way these programs are trending, right, I think, yeah, there would be like a huge bright future for Indians to make like a huge impact in AI/ML industry. So you never know. I think I see a brighter side for India because the programs which have come out to support these entrepreneurs, startups, and research programs as well. I think it's really a good side as well, I think.
Yes, yes, yes. The India will be grow very high in the artificial intelligence field because the many companies like Microsoft, Google, Facebook, as you say, the more the Indians are working in their company, not are the foreigners.
And also, I see a lot of infrastructures from huge companies being set up in India. Like in South India, there are like a lot of lands which have been taken to set up the infrastructure. So I think people also know the value of Indians and they're trying to shift their infrastructure here because a lot of Indians are not moving out of India. So they're trying to set up their infrastructure within India to focus, sure that, a lot of Indians are being, are working for their companies. So you never know. People have also started realizing that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So, ma'am, last part of this podcast, I want to conduct with the rapid fire round. Okay. So, please
Yeah.
try to give the only one word answer. Okay, and you have to give the
Okay,
answer.
sure.
So, Priyanka, ma'am, are you ready for the rapid fire round?
Yeah, yeah.
So, my first question is that AI or human intelligence, who would win in a chess match in 2023?
Human.
If your code could talk, what would be the one thing it would constantly complain about you?
But
Would you trust an AI to write your autobiography?
yes,
If you had to explain machine learning to a 5 years old, what would be the your opening line?
your friend explaining you how world works.
Nice, nice, nice. If you were a machine learning model, which one would you be and why?
Gen AI. Why? Because my colleagues have also told this. I keep generating. I speak non-stop and I keep generating. So I think it would be Gen AI.
Okay. What is the weirdest data set you have ever worked with?
One data set where you get the pH Brix value of a fruit. So this was the weirdest. I didn't know how to go about on that. What exactly is it? So that is.
Okay. What's the more difficult, explaining AI to non-tech people or convincing an AI model to behave?
Convincing AI model to behave. Very unpredictable.
What's your superpower? Predictive analysis or predicting the next episode on Netflix?
Predicting the next episode on Netflix.
If AI could replace one human professional right now, which would it be?
Testing. The testing team, QA.
Yes, yes, I also feel so strongly while writing this question.
Definitely, because I myself have personally written programs for that and it's performed better than humans for testing applications.
Would you trust an AI to choose your next vacation destination?
Yes, I've been doing it for my past 5 vacations. It knows better.
Okay. What's your favorite tech gadget that you can't live without?
My mobile.
If you could only use one programming language for the rest of your life, which one you would it be?
Python, obviously.
Books or blogs? Where do you learn the most from?
Blogs. I am muted.
What's your favorite AI powered app?
ChatGPT.
If you could have a chance to ask one question to Sal Almond, founder of ChatGPT, what will be the question?
What is his first question to ChatGPT?
If AI could cook, what dish would it make perfectly every time?
Ice cream.
If you could have a robot best friend, what would you name it?
Crazy AI.
What's the first thing you teach an AI that's learning to be human?
Understand the behavior of humans.
If you could program yourself to never sleep, would you do it?
Yes. Given my career, I think yes.
If AI took over all the jobs tomorrow, what new hobby would you pick up?
Traveling, focusing on fitness.
If AI could invent a new flavor of ice cream, what would it be?
Something out of semiconductor chips or based on some mind things.
What would you do if AI developed a sense of humor and start making fun of you?
I think it would make a great stand-up comedian, and I think all the stand-up comics would go out of job.
If you get chance to give one slap, for whom you would do that? Scammers or hackers?
Scammers.
If AI could predict your future, would you want to know?
Yes.
If your life were an algorithm, what would be its most common bug?
Doing unpredictable things when I get frustrated. Decision-making skills, definitely. That would be the bug.
If AI could replace one thing in the kitchen, what should it be?
The whole stove, I think it would easily replace the stove.
If you could only communicate with AI using emoji, what would be your favorite emoji?
There's a emoji face where you have upside a smile. I think that would be the one which I'd use.
If you could teach AI one bad habit, what would
would it be?
Yeah, I want to teach it to be sarcastic.
Okay. Structured
Okay.
data or unstructured data?
Structured data.
Debugging or designing?
Debugging.
Code in silence or music in background?
Music in background.
Neural network or decision tree?
Neural network.
Big data or small data set?
Big data set.
Laptop or desktop?
Laptop.
Automation or manual work?
Automation.
Cloud computing, edge computing?
Cloud computing.
Morning code or late code?
Late code.
Smartphone or smartwatch?
Smartphone.
Work from home or work from office?
Work from home.
Hackathons or conference?
Hackathons.
Chat GPT or Google Bard?
ChatGPT.
Self-driving cars or flying cars?
Flying cars.
Data scientist or AI engineer?
AI engineer.
GitHub or Stack Overflow?
Stack Overflow.
Automation testing or manual testing?
Manual testing.
Tech books or YouTube tutorials?
YouTube tutorials.
Mathematics or coding?
Coding. Very difficult. Can't choose one. But yeah, coding.
Android or iOS?
Android. Being iOS user, I think Android.
Okay. So cloud storage or local storage?
Cloud storage always has been for me.
SQL or no SQL?
No SQL.
TensorFlow or PyTorch?
TensorFlow.
Robots or AI software?
AI software.
Natural language processing or computer vision?
Computer vision.
Hackathons or coding bootcamps?
In this, yeah, coding bootcamps.
Supervised learning or unsupervised learning?
Unsupervised.
Big queries or Snowflake?
Snowflake.
Speech recognition or face recognition?
Face recognition.
Self-learning AI or human supervised AI?
Self-learning AI.
Chatbots or voice assistant?
Voice assistant, because I'm too lazy to type.
Okay. Code with bugs or bug with codes?
Bug with codes.
Bossy AI or lazy AI?
Lazy AI. Yes.
Predict the stock market or predict the weather?
Predict the weather. I want to know
Okay.
if I have to go to office today.
AI that gossips or AI that never speaks?
AI that does gossip, definitely.
AI that's smarter than you or robots that funnier than you?
Robots that are funnier than me.
Self-coding AI or AI that tell you what code?
Self-coding AI, because I've already had AI which tells me what to do.
Okay. Perfect algorithm or a perfect vacation?
I don't think I'll get perfect vacation, perfect algorithm.
Infinity data or infinity storage?
Infinity data, definitely.
AI that took emotionals or AI that's emotional less?
AI that takes emotions.
Okay. AI with smart fridge or AI smart mirror?
Okay, AI with smart fridge. I don't want another sarcastic person to comment on my looks every day.
Okay. Robot chef or robot driver?
Robot driver.
Accidentally delete your code or accidentally delete your vacation photos?
Accidentally, which deletes my code is better. I can code again, not vacation photos.
Okay. Predict people's mood or predict people's next move?
Predict people's next move. Yes.
Train an AI to be like you or train an AI to be better than you?
Better than me. Let's see.
AI that remembers everything or AI that forgets when you need it to?
Okay, AI that remembers everything.
Okay. AI controlled house or AI controlled car?
AI controlled house.
AI that loves to give advice or AI that never gives feedback?
AI that loves to give advice.
AI that keeps secrets or AI that gossips about you?
AI that gossips about.
AI that always right or AI that always kind?
AI that writes.
Big data with no insights or small data with all the answers?
Big data with no insights. More help.
Good company or good boss?
I would go with good boss.
Okay. Yeah, that's the done with the rapid fire questions.
I think that was fun.
I hope you like it.
Oh, I loved it. It was amazing and really fun. It was very unexpected. I had never expected these questions, but I think it was really fun. I think this is very interactive, and likewise, you're also very interactive, and you chose a very set of really nice questions, which was like I didn't have to think a lot to answer. It was like already like very interactive and very curious questions. So likewise, it was very comfortable and very fun also to have this discussions with you. I think we are also like on the very same page. So I think it is very easy for me too.
The woman from the Silicon Valley of India, Bengaluru, Mrs. Priyanka, thank you so much for coming to my podcast and giving us a valuable knowledge for the all of us audience. It's really great talking with you. The knowledge you share us today with really helpful for all the data aspirants and the students who are coming to the industry. Thank you so much, first of all, for giving your prestigious time to me.
No, thanks a lot, Chaitanya. I have to thank you because to be very honest, I have never spoken on a podcast, and I was very nervous to do this as well. Yes, my colleagues were also like kind of suggesting that no, you have to do a podcast, or have you tried other things. But at the same time, I think we just spoke like when you reached out to me. I think just the day ahead we were speaking about me doing a podcast, and I was like, okay, I'll do podcast in this company only and all. But I think I was very, I didn't know what to speak, but I was like, okay, will I actually speak so much, or will it be like, I also, we had a previous discussion where I was like, I'll do like 5 minutes, but honestly, it's been like so many minutes, and it's been like hours, and I myself didn't know that if I could actually speak so much, but it's been great. Today also I was thinking like if I can actually speak more, or how it's gonna be, but it's again a two-way street. Like, you have been very interactive, and you also spoke in a way that could get answers out of me. But altogether, this has been like really fun and amazing. Honor to be that on your podcast, and being a person who's never spoken about all of these. It's my first-hand experience speaking about so many things at once. And I should also thank my experience and thank you basically, because if you wouldn't have given an opportunity like this, I don't think I'd have stepped into this again. So thanks a lot. It's been a great, immense pleasure to be on your podcast. To be able to talk with you about all of these, since you're a freelancer and you have had an expertise domain in all of this. I think we had great discussions, and let's see, I'm looking forward to more what we can do. And thank you so much for this opportunity at this point of time in my career. I think this is what I really needed, and I can't thank you enough for that.
Yes, ma'am. Please let me know in the comment which guest would you like to see on this podcast, and any specific topics you would like us to discuss with them. We will try to bring those guests and ask your questions, so you will get more helpful information. Before you go, share this episode with someone. It might really help them, because one conversation can change a person's life, giving them a new idea and direction. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. See you in next video.